This is You're Probably Right. Entertainment first, everything else is just bonus. Opinions, all ours. Sometimes backed by research, but never the final word. There are always exceptions, so take it with a grain of salt and a slight dusting of chili powder.
How you doing? This is MCM, and you're listening to You're Probably Right. Yes, MCM, aka Michael Charles Murray. This episode is for women only. And the men who are still listening, stay there. Because if you've ever loved a woman and felt like you were only getting a part of her, this is probably why. You see, sometimes the problem is not that she doesn't care about you. Sometimes the problem is that old pain is still deciding what the new man gets. And men, stay with me, because by the end of this, I'm going to tell you exactly how to handle yourself when you're loving someone who still hasn't fully gotten free from what somebody else did to her. Now, women, this is for you. And let me say this very carefully. This is not an attack. This is not me saying every woman is secretly stuck on some old man from 10 years ago. This is me talking about something real that a lot of people can feel, but do not name honestly enough. A lot of women have been deeply hurt, deeply used, deeply disappointed, and then expected to just move cleanly into a new relationship like pain leaves no fingerprints. It does. And that's the truth. Pain leaves fingerprints on the way you trust, on the way you open up, on the way you receive love, and on the way you ration yourself, on the way you decide what somebody new is allowed to have access to. And that's where this gets hard. Because sometimes what a woman calls growth is actually fair with better language. She says she's wiser now. She says she moves differently now. She says she learned her lesson. Okay. Maybe she did. Maybe you did. But sometimes what the real really means is this. I gave too much before. I trusted too much before. I opened up. Maybe I was young, but I opened up too much before. I let somebody get too far inside before. And I am never doing it like that again. Now, before I go further, I want to say this. This episode is for entertainment purposes only. I do not profess to be a professor of anything. Yes, I've gone to college and learned social work and social service work and the different things in general arts and science and all that other stuff, all that good stuff. Not to mention my own life lived experience as well. And I really, really, really do this podcast to help people. I do it to help people who've gone through things that I've gone through and things that I see a lot of people go through. And I've studied a lot of people in their lives and what they've gone through. And so that's why this is here. I haven't earned any money from this podcast. If you notice, you look through my titles, you'll see a lot of different types of things, but most things are about relationships. And I think when I started this podcast, it was to help people go through the stuff that I go through and try to be like a helping hand or a person just holding the door and saying, after you. So please look at it that way. I'm not chasing down anybody. I'm not trying to walk anybody down like Jason. I'm just here trying to help you out and just consider me a friend. Whether we're taking a long drive, whether we're hanging out by the beach and just looking at the waves crashing into each other, trying to figure out how life got us here, or maybe we're just walking the dog or cutting the grass, you know what I mean? Or folding some laundry, whatever it is. I'm here for you. I'm here with you. I'm just your friend, Mike. All right. Okay, now let me continue. Now, on one level, that makes sense. Check us out. But on another level, that means the person in front of you now is not just dealing with you. He's dealing with what happened to you. He's dealing with the rules another man wrote into your nervous system. He's dealing with the policies old pain left behind. A man feels that big time. They may not know how to explain it well. And at the same time, most guys don't want to feel like they're being too emotional or too sensitive. But they want you to know that they can feel it. They feel when a woman is with them, but not fully relaxed. We feel it. They feel when she loves them, but with, the emergency brake on, if you drive. In other words, you're moving, but there's something holding you back. And I know a lot of women have felt this. A lot of women are very aware of it. And sometimes they just don't know how to get out of it. Guys feel when certain rooms in her are closed. They feel when certain kinds of softness only come out in measured doses. And guys, I can tell you right now, that is no excuse to bring substances into the relationship for that reason. Many guys know what I'm talking about. Guys feel when she might genuinely care, but still is not fully there. And that could mess with a man's head. Because now he starts asking questions he feels bad for even having. Why do I get the careful version of you? Why do I get the edited version of you? Why do I get the post-damaged version while somebody else gets the raw one, the one that I want? And that is a brutal question, especially if he's actually trying, especially if he's not the one who actually lied to you, not the one who ghosted you, not the one who used your body and went cold, not the one who made you feel foolish for being open, but he can still end up paying for all of that. That is the part of people, that's the part people really just avoid saying altogether. It's just there, right? It just sits there. Like it's, should be paying rent, but it's just taking up space, not paying a thing. You're paying. And sometimes it gets even uglier than that. Because sometimes it's not just caution. Sometimes there is still something in reserve. Just in case. Just in case what? You can answer that for yourself or keep listening. Just in case the old attachment wakes up and comes back up. Just in case the guy who hurt you still has some old hold on your imagination. Just in case the unfinished story in your head still feels more alive than the man sitting right in front of you with his arms open and other things open. And that's heavy, but that's real. Because a person can be physically and can be gone physically and still be present psychologically. They can be blocked, gone, married, moved away, disappeared, whatever, and still be sitting in the structure of your current life. still affecting policy, still shaping what intimacy is allowed to cost, still deciding how much access the next man gets. And if that is true, the current man feels it. He's not being emotional. He wants you. And what he's getting is he's getting an edited version of you that somebody else did the editing on. However it happened. He feels it when he reaches for depth and it never quite opens. He feels it when your body says maybe, but your nervous system says never again. He feels it when there are things you used to do before, ways you used to show up before, ways you used to be before, and now everything has to go through a committee meeting inside of you. He feels it when old pain gets more emotional electricity out of you than the present love does. That one hurts. Because then he starts wondering if he's building something real with you or just living with the aftermath of the fire that somebody else started. You know, guys here, oh, all men are dogs. All men are the same. And let me tell you something else. Hatred is not always closure. Anger is not always detachment. Yeah. A lot of people are not over somebody. They are just hurt by them. That's different. If you are still organizing parts of your current life around what somebody else from the past did to you, then that person is not gone in the way that you think they are. And that is where people get confused because they think, well, I'm not talking to him anymore, so I'm over it. He's gone. She's gone. Not necessarily. You see, if what they did still decides how much trust the next man or the next woman gets, how much tenderness the next man gets or the next woman gets, how much freedom the next one gets, then no. They have too much power still. And that is the honest truth. And if you are a woman in a current relationship or a man or in a marriage, this becomes serious fast because now this is not just about your pain. This is about the climate. This is about the emotional climate in the relationship. This is about what your partner feels every single day. This is about the atmosphere in the house. This is about whether the person loving you feels welcomed or just managed. Not doing that. We're not going over there. Can't even eat over there. Because somebody can stay in a relationship for years and still never feel fully let in. I've been through that. I know what that's about. They can feel like they are loving through glass. They can see you. They can feel like they're always so close, but never fully inside. And after a while, that starts starving people. And they start catching feelings. They start holding it in their chest. And it's not dramatic, it's just true. When a man keeps feeling like he's in, loving somebody who is still emotionally half packed to leave, or just waiting for one argument or one mishap, or half loyal to an old pain, or keeping a small corner of herself or himself untouched just in case life flips again, something starts to happen to him too. They get tired, they get confused, they get resentful, or they get quiet. Not because he doesn't love her or she doesn't love him if it's a woman and this has happened to her. Because it's exhausting trying to build something real with somebody who is still braced against the past. And some women do not fully understand how much this wears on a man. He just can't get in. No matter how far he thinks he's in, no matter what he thinks he can do, no matter how he tries to measure up, he can't. Most guys think they can. They try to give it the college try, they would say. He's trying to love you on his own terms. He's heard the stories of what others have done to you, and now he's trying to heal that, and he's trying to show you that I can love you better. But he can't because you're still trapped in the old relationship. Even if it's just 10% of you, that 10% is huge. But he's being interpreted through somebody else's history, what the other guy did. A delayed reply means more because somebody ghosted you before, right? Maybe he's doing the same thing. A disagreement means more because somebody turned cruel before. A question means more because somebody interrogated you before. Maybe they said they were going to put something to make sure they know where you are. Somewhere around you. Technology is wild these days. A boundary means more because somebody withheld before. So now he's not being known cleanly. He's being filtered through damage. And that's hard to beat. And what makes it even worse is that some women will say, no, that's not what this is. They'll say, I'm just more careful now. I'm just more mature now. I'm just not naive like I was. Okay. Maybe some of that is true. But there is a difference between discernment and damage. And honestly, it's just me and you here talking. So, as I said, I'm not a doctor and I don't play one on TV, but it's just me and you. So I'm saying, even with yourself, if you're listening to this by yourself, or even if you're listening with a partner or with some friends, you have to take this and kind of internalize what makes sense and leave what is not yours to hold on to, but grasp onto what is real and really take a hard look at what is before you. You see, there is a difference between wisdom and withholding. Both start with W, but they're different. There's a difference between having standards and being emotionally unavailable in a prettier outfit. And that is a whole point. Because some women are not actually withholding because the current man is unsafe. They're withholding because the last man taught them that being fully open can get you blindsided. So now they make little private vows to themselves, and they might actually say them to the new dude. I'm not doing that again. I'm not saying that again. I'm not being that soft again. I'm not being that sexual again. I'm not being that available again. I'm not letting somebody know they have that kind of effect on me again. And that may feel understandable, but what you're doing is starting a game. That's right. You're starting a game in your new relationship. Even if, let's say, he came not to play games with you and you said you're not playing games too. But when you make those statements within yourself, or maybe you text it to them because You want somebody to know that they can't expect this from you and they can't expect that from you. And you're trying to supposedly set boundaries. But what you're doing to him is saying, okay, well, check this out. I have this part of me over here and it was hurt. So I've closed that room. Then there's this part over here. I'm going to close that too. And I'm going to close this one over here. And I'm going to close this one over here. Now you have access to me, but you're going to have to stay right here in this living space right here. And until you show me better, and trust me, in most cases, the guy is not going to be able to do it. Until you show me that you have learned your lesson, I can't open those other rooms. But the problem is you're teaching the lesson to the wrong person because this guy didn't do anything. Listen. The current man is in a relationship with you, right? But both of you are there, and also someone else, the old affair. And that's the truth. And if that truth is not named, it becomes a silent tax on your relationship. Both of you feel it. You feel pressured because he wants more. He feels shut out because the doors are shut. You feel misunderstood. Guess what? He can't understand you because those rooms are closed. He feels like he got the aftermath instead of the woman. And that is how good relationships start starving right from the beginning. Not always because somebody cheated, not always because somebody lied. Although, sometimes because somebody from the past never fully left the emotional structure of the present. You see, and I already talked about a version of this already in my episode, They Knew Before I Did. Because once somebody gets deeply hurt, the damage does not always leave when the person leaves. Sometimes it follows them into the next thing and starts deciding what future intimacy is allowed to look like. And that's the thread. And if you are a woman listening to this and you know there are parts of you still organized around someone who came before, this is not me telling you to feel ashamed. Nah. This is me telling you the truth, because the truth is already in the room anyways. And guess what? The new guy, he can feel it. You can feel it. You might have even talked about it at some length. The distance can feel it. The tension can feel it. The bedroom can feel it. The silence can feel it. And the longer it goes unnamed, the more normal it starts to feel. And that's dangerous because basically, you're basically okay, but it's not the same as alive. Basically okay is not the same as fully met. Basically okay is not the same as two people resting in each other. Sometimes what people call stability is just managed distance. And that's real. And one of the hardest parts of this is some women still have more emotional charge talking about what the old guy did than than they have showing current love to the man in front of them. And that is hard for a man to sit with because it makes him wonder if old pain still has more electricity in you than the present peace does. And if that is true, he's going to feel it whether you say it or not. So let me say the hard thing cleanly. If the old man is still deciding what the new man gets, then the old man still has too much power. And that's the line. If you really want new love or a better marriage, better relationship, or a real present life, that has to be faced honestly, not polished, not spiritualized, not dressed up, just faced. Because a dead relationship should not be controlling the living one. So, what do? You tell the truth. Not the social media healing version, the ones that you see in your TikToks and Instagram or X maybe in what, 29 seconds for a perfect small little video that you forget in 2 hours anyway, or less. Or maybe use it as a mantra for the day and then you move on to the next thing tomorrow. And that's if you don't get confused by all the other stuff you've heard because your algorithm is bombarding you with the same type of thing from 200 different people in a day. The real version. And am I actually over that person? That's the question. Or am I just committed to never being that exposed again? Because that's not the same thing. Those are not the same things. And that is where most people have to stop and really, really think. Because some people do not actually move into new love. They move into better risk management. And that is not the same thing. Real love will still cost you something. Not self-betrayal, though, not stupidity, not blindness, but yes, real love still costs exposure. It costs humility. It costs honesty. It costs the possibility that somebody could matter enough to hurt you. And that is the part that we're missing, but that is part of the deal. So if in your heart, you've decided that you will never let anyone get that close to you again, then what you are really saying is, I am willing to stay safer, even if it means staying only half known. And that is a real choice. But just understand that the next guy is going to feel that. But at least call it what it is. And you have to understand when the next guy is not willing to do that. You see, most guys want love. Yes, they do. They want to be cozy. They want a partner. They want somebody to walk the dog with. They want somebody to wash and dry if that's your thing. Or they want someone to hang out on the couch with. They want someone to go on a vacation with, hang out at the beach with. They want someone to come home to, someone to snuggle up to, and all that other stuff, and share life with, maybe kids, responsibilities, whatever those are. Fun, enjoyment. They want to enjoy life. But they want respect, and they want you, all of you, open. The problem with nowadays, the society, is that everybody's doing this virtual speed dating type of thing where we test people out for a few trips or a few tricks or a few dates or a few whatevers. Sometimes they're doing it at multiple people at the same time. When really it's that what most people need to do is step back from this and measure what they really want, look for what they really want, and invest when that real thing shows up. And you can tell it in a lot of ways without having to test drive so many things, because you get confused. Sometimes you get confused. Some people get confused. They talk to so many different people at the same time, they can't even remember the stories. So they start repeating the same stories to some people, and then they expect other people to know the stories that they told, which they didn't even tell to those people. And it gets one big confusing whole madness. Do not call it healing if what it really is fear with boundaries all wrapped all over it. If kids are involved, marriage is involved, years are involved, that matters even more because now this is not just about your inner world. This is about what your home feels like. When you're sitting all alone and it's 8 o'clock at night and it's probably too early to turn in, but you're so tired from a long day's work that you not know what else to do. And a lot of times you end up waking up really, really early or really, really late, exhausted, emotionally exhausted. Check it out. This is about whether your partner lives in warmth or in tension. This is about whether the relationship feels fed or rationed. And if somebody keeps feeling like they are loving through glass, they eventually start changing too. Yeah, they get colder, they get resentful, they stop trying, or they go somewhere else. Maybe just emotionally, but they're still there. That is not always because they're weak or they don't have boundaries. Sometimes it's because they are starving. So, yes, this matters. And yes, women need to hear it straight. You can have a good reason for the wall. We get that. And still have a wall. You can have a painful history and still be unfair to the person who is actually trying their hardest to love you. Two things, as they say, can be true. And if you know that this is you, then the work is not just asking for patience. Oh, please just be patient with me. Maybe one day I'll forget. Now, you're not going to forget. The scars are right there. Just look on any part of your body that you've had an accident or you got into something and there's a scar. I guarantee you, you can look down at your arm or look down at your leg and or on your face and you say, okay, that happened there. These stitches happened over here. Yeah, this bruise right here is from when I broke my whatever, right? You know, it doesn't disappear because some scars are going to be with you forever. Right now, I can look down at my hand and I've told my kids and I've told multiple people, when I was in grade 7, I got burned by a torch from my friend that I was trying to help weld because he had no clue what he was doing. I know he didn't do it on purpose, but the scar's there. Nonetheless, it's there. Matter of fact, I'm kind of happy that the scar is there. It's a story. It's an experience. I know how it happened. I know why it happened. I know what I was doing when it happened. I was trying to help somebody. Right. The scars are there though. They don't disappear. Most deep scars don't disappear. Emotionally, no, they don't. They're there. You see, the work is asking yourself what you still keep in reserve. Emotionally, physically, sexually, relationally. What are you still rationing because of somebody who is no longer here? Because whatever you are still rationing is where the past still has power. And whatever the past still has power over, the present is going to feel. And what happens when you, let's say a Jamaican term, what happens when you buck up on the right guy? What if this guy is the right guy? If you have all of those doors that I talked about, those rooms closed, he's going to feel it and he might not accept it. You might say, oh, well, there's another guy. You know what? When you live long enough, you realize that some people who might have seemed replaceable because they were simple, peaceful, honest, good, loving, and all that stuff, you might find out, well, you're going to find out eventually. Hopefully, you don't have to find out. That's why I'm here. Is that some of those people leave and they don't come back. You don't always get another one of those. You understand? Now, let me talk to the men who stayed, if you're still here. Probably because you're nosy. No, I'm just joking. Because if you are in this situation, right, I don't want to leave you sitting there feeling like your only job is to be patient forever while somebody else's damage keeps eating your relationship alive. Nah. You need to know how to handle yourself too. First thing, stop auditioning against a ghost. Stop trying to beat a man who is not even in the room. Stop bending over backwards trying to prove you are not him. Better than him, safer than him, cleaner than him, more patient than him, more understanding than him. You can lose years doing that. Because if a woman is still emotionally organized around her past, no amount of overperforming from you is going to fix that by itself. Can I say that again? Listen. If a woman is still emotionally organized around her past, no amount of overperforming, overgiving, overdoing from you is going to fix that by itself. That's her work. You can't outgive her past. If the last guy was a user, if the last guy ran up her credit cards, if the last guy took this and took that, you're not going to be able to overgive. If you want, you can try. I can tell you I've been there. You can't just give in to somebody, try just doing it and at the detriment of your own self, hurting yourself because you love the person. It's like, wow, this is I've never experienced something like this, and let me see if I can just fix this and somehow maybe I can kick these doors down somehow by all my overdoing. That is her work. It's not yours. Or at least it's not just yours. You have to show that you're trustworthy. Yeah. If you know that, let's for instance, maybe anger with the last guy, and maybe she felt like he almost behaved like if he didn't even like women and he just wanted to use women at some level. You probably would watch your temper at a level. You got to be yourself. She still has to know who you are because that will bust out in 5 years anyways. But like, you would have to watch certain things, of course. And I just picked one. But second, tell the truth early, guys. Not in a whiny way, not in a bitter way. Personally, I always look at things as far as relationships are concerned. When somebody never has anything good to say with someone that they were in love with for years, never anything good to say about them, watch out. Should tell you something. Because nobody is 100% evil all the time, evil bad, unless it was just straight up always abuse. But at some point, there was something that got you into that relationship. Hopefully, they can realize what that was and whether that has anything to do with what or who you are. But please, guys, tell the truth early. Not in a whiny way, not in a bitter way, not in a why am I paying for what another man did speech every 5 minutes. I mean, clean truth. Something like this, right? Check it out. Check it out. I care about you. I'm trying to build something real with you, but I can't feel that part of you is still guarded in a way that has nothing to do with me. And if we are going to do this, we need to be honest about that. And that kind of truth matters, guys, because a lot of men stay silent for too long. It's not noble. I get you're trying to be understanding. You're trying to be the good guy, the nice guy. You're not trying to pressure her because, you still want what you want. And there are certain parts of her that are still open. But listen, meanwhile, they're trying quietly on the outside. Guys, that's not strength. That's just slow self erasure. And guess what that eats at? It eats at your self respect. And you think you're being a good guy, but nah, you're just slowly erasing yourself. Do not accept permanent punishment for sins you didn't commit. You have your own. You have your own lessons that you've hopefully learned. Read that again in your spirit. Do not accept permanent punishment for sins you didn't commit. Listen, compassion is one thing. Living indefinitely under emotional probation for another man's damage is, is something else. If she is healing, if she is honest, if she is doing the work, if she is trying to become more available, that is one thing. But if years are passing and you are still getting the half version, the braced version, the always careful version, the always reserved version, then you need to stop pretending patience is going to magically turn into reciprocity, because it doesn't. Not by itself. Next. Watch what happens when you bring truth into the room. That will tell you a lot. Does she open up? Does she get honest? Does she reflect? Does she say, you know what? You're right. I have still been carrying this and it's affecting us. Or does she deflect, shame you, shut you down, make you feel guilty for even bringing it up? That tells you a lot. Because if a woman cannot even acknowledge the cost of her unresolved pain on the current relationship, then that relationship is in more trouble than either of you are obviously willing to admit. Next, do not build a whole life around hope that one day she will become available. That is where many men get trapped. She might not. But do not marry potential while starving the present. Do not keep telling yourself, one day she'll soften, one day she'll trust me, one day she'll stop comparing, one day she'll give me what she used to give other people. Maybe, maybe not. But your life is happening now. Your years are happening now. Your heart is happening now. And next, sixth, I know I haven't been numbering them. Stay a man of dignity. Do not become cruel because you feel shut out. Do not become petty because you feel compared. Do not become a revenge version of yourself because you are tired of loving through glass. Stay clear. Stay honest, sorry. Stay grounded. It's kind of funny how you rely on your pronunciation of words, and you realize when you're trying to get them off to somebody else that your pronunciation of certain words are horrible. Anyways, listen, stay real enough to know when something is starving you, because men do this thing sometimes where they think enduring anything quietly is strength, right? I'm not going to take medication. I'm a man. Nah. Sometimes strength is saying, I love you, but I cannot keep living in a relationship where somebody from the past is still deciding how much of you I get. It's none of his business. It's none of their business. And that is strength too. And to the woman still listening, I'm taking off. This is the part you need to hear. A good man does not want to replace your past. He wants a real chance at your present. That's the difference. He definitely doesn't want to hear about your past every day, though. He is not asking you to become naive again. You can't. The scars are there. He's not asking you to hand your heart over blindly and see what he does with it. That wouldn't make any sense. He's not asking you to pretend pain never happened because, as I said before, the scars are there. He is asking you to be forever, or he's not asking you, sorry, to be governed forever by people who are no longer there. And that is a fair ask. The past is the past. He's not being selfish, and it's not male fragility. That is relationship reality. Because if the old wound is still making all the policy decisions, then the current relationship is never fully free. And if it is never fully free, both of you are going to feel it. So men, this is your situation. Here's the short version. Tell the truth. Stop auditioning against ghosts, because ghosts can walk through walls. Think about it. Ghosts can walk through those doors that are closed. Watch whether she can meet you in reality. Do not accept endless punishment for wounds you did not create, and do not let compassion turn into self-abandonment. You need that respect, guys. And women, guys do need respect. They want love, but they need respect. This is how you handle yourself, guys. Not with rage, not with begging. Oh, please, nah. But nah. Not with endless proving. Let me give you this. Here, have that. Just be clear. And women, if you know this is you, then the work is not just asking for patience again. The work is deciding whether you are finally ready to stop letting old pain govern new pain. That is where the future changes. Anyhow, in the next episode, guys, I'm going to talk about the other side of this even more directly. What happens when new love keeps paying for old pain, and why some people do not realize they are still being governed by a relationship that already ended. Anyhow, y'all, I am Michael C. Murray. This is You're Probably Right. Thank you for hanging out with me. As I said, please, guys, if you can, share the podcast. If you can, like it wherever. If you can go on to Apple and rate me, I would love a 5 out of 5. I hardly have any ratings there for whatever reason, but I do appreciate that Spotify and Apple and a few others have started letting people see my content. I've been trying at this point here. I try not to date these episodes. I try to keep it evergreen as best I can. But at this point, I've been doing this for about 6 years. And there is really over almost, I would say, 350 episodes of me yammering on. um, but it's like a singer or rapper who has a lot of pain. A country artist or a crooner or R&B, whatever it is. Um, our best work is through our pain, and I can honestly tell you I've gone through a lot. So I'm here just trying to be here for you. And if I help, I always said if I can help 5 people in my life do something different or open a door that would never have been open to them in some way, shape, or form, jeez, then that I should cut that out. But anyways, if I can help in some way, shape, or form, then my life has not been a total waste. Anyhow, take care until next time. Peace. Ha. Hey, come check out You Probably Right podcast. Society is getting more unpredictable every day, but at the same time, predictable in its unpredictability. Say that 4 times real fast. Come with me as I attempt to find clarity in all the fog while staying way outside the box and kicking the box way down the road with my size 12 ducks. I use the Bible, experience, education, fortune, misfortune, life's lessons, life's mistakes to sort through all the mess. I talk about news, God, God, self-help, sports, sickness, health, music, parenting, love, humbleness, hurt, pain, joy, and all the things that might make you say, I never thought of it that way. Hopefully, anyway. Also, I take a stab at answering tough and not so tough questions, and all the while understand that, listen, sometimes you end up in the hot seat and there's no thermostat. Well, that's how it is here. And because there's no topic, very few topics off the table, Torontonians will understand that Doug Ford reference there. Hopefully the podcast will be helpful and uplifting. And hey, maybe you'll find your own private Idaho here somewhere. Hope to see you soon.